Hello, Facebook land. How you doing? Let's see how we are on the angle here. It's a bit high. Just lower it down a little bit. Get a little bit more of the foot action. Yeah, it's about right. There we go. Let's see here. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, you get the feet. Yep, that's pretty good. Hello. Welcome to our day 12 of our Unleash the Dragon Challenge. Lovely to be here. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope that you're doing all right on this Friday afternoon, that you're safe, you're well, you're healthy, and that you haven't been too heavily impacted by all that's happening. Congratulations to you. Kudos to you for making the time, taking the time to come and do something for yourself, to touch base with something that broadens your horizons, that gets you in touch with your body, with your heart, and with your mind. And thank you for sharing your time with me in here. So what we're going to be doing today, we're in our day 12, we're in our second phase of the challenge, and we're getting into the animals and we're exploring them a little bit more. We're delving a little bit more deeply into them. Today we're going to be doing BOA. We're doing our second day of BOA in our second phase, and we're going to review a little bit what we did yesterday and do the moves, do a little bit more movement and have a bit more fun. So let's get into reviewing what we did yesterday. So what we started off with is effleurage, and so it's this sort of caressing, massaging of the body, and effleurage, it's French for, well, rubbing, and there's frotter, which is a completely different thing, that's more kinky. We'll talk about that when we get to Panther. But with effleurage, it's like a massage when you caress and stimulate circulation in your skin. The skin is an important part of BOA. You breathe and respire through the skin. Anything to do with breathing is BOA. And it's also a great way of stimulating your proprioceptive awareness, and that's just great for alignment in general. Alignment work and physical work of any kind in general. All right, so let's get into it. So actually, let's start. Clap your hands, rub your hands together a little bit, and just bring a bit of energy into them. And we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. We'll have a sort of Celtic knot braiding kind of pattern up the front of the body, down the back of the body. Starting at the feet, going over the face, do the arms, back of the head, down the body. So take a moment and starting caressing the insides of the legs, the inner thighs, coming up to the hips, cross at the hips, come up to the top, onto your armpits. You can pinch your armpits a little bit, get the nexus of lymphatic nodes. Uncross at the base of the throat, climb up your face, rub your face like you're doing ablutions and washing your face in the morning. Come round the ears. Sometimes it's fun to fold your ears in. They call it drumming the heavenly drum. Coming down the throat, and then back to the armpits, and then on the inside of the arms, then on the outside of the arms. You need to bring your arms over your head over here so you can get to the backs of your shoulder. And you come to your shoulder, unclip the bra at the back. So you cross your arms, come down your back, uncross at your lower back, and then take the pants off, bring your hands down the outsides of your legs. And you start the circuit again. Come on up. Come up to the hips. Keep relaxing your body. And just scooping the skin, caressing it. Get all the little nooks and crannies. Is there a spot that feels kind of blank or blind or something? You can just use your hands and just get those areas of your skin aware and awake. And then come back and uncross your back, uncross across your lower back and down the outsides of your legs. One more time. And up. Cross at the legs, uncross the chest, up the face, arms. Cross at the upper back, uncross at the lower back, down the sides of the legs, and then flick off the energy and feel what your body feels like. And when I do this, again, like right now, today is different from yesterday, so I'm feeling more alive front and back. I'm just aware of my space around me, 360, a little bit more all the way around. So that's the effleurage. And we did some leg work the other day. I think I'm going to let that one go for today right now. If you're interested in seeing it again, hit me up on the notes, and I'll be happy to show it. And speaking of notes, I'm just going to check to see if there's anything in the scroll list here. Nope. Hello, Jenny. Nice to see you. All right. Okay. So we've got the legs, we got the body, we got effleurage, and now let's get into basic breathing. The basic breathing exercise, we're going to review the pattern of breathing, how you breathe into your lower, middle, upper back, and then your lower, middle, upper torso on the in-breath, and then exhale from the top down. And we'll also review the energy circuits of the energy that's coming in through the feet and through the hands, meeting at the groin, meeting at the throat, and then rising up to the sun, and then on the way back down, going out the way those circuits of energy came in. So we're going to do that, and then we'll get into the BOA and talk a little bit about empathy and a little bit about unconscious, and I'm going to do my best to connect it to COVID and how you can use these aspects of the BOA to help you in the challenges that we're going through today. Okay, so let's get into it. So, with your feet shoulder width apart, feel your weight land into the soles of your feet. And here we turn the palms forward, exposing the yin skin of the body. And you deflate, empty out of air, and you bend your knees and contract your chest. And you only contract the chest as much as you can bend the knees. And what you want is for your head, you want to let your head curl forward, but don't let your head fall past your knees. Otherwise, you're putting unnecessary strain on your lower back. So you empty out of breath. And let's do a couple of breaths. Yeah, let's do a couple of breaths. Just going over the physical mechanics. So you're going to start to inhale. And as you inhale, you fill up your lower back, middle back, upper back, lower abdomen, lower torso, belly goes out, middle torso, ribs go out to the side, upper torso, breastplate goes up on a 45. Hold the breath. As you hold the breath, you're purifying your energy in the energy of the sun, in the center of the sun. And then you exhale. And you exhale the breath from the top down. And as you exhale, you let your chest collapse, drop, and let your knees bend, but your head stays pointing up to the sky. Then, when you reach the bottom of your bend, then the head curls over. And you expel the last drop of breath. Breathing into the lower back, middle back, upper back, lower abdomen out, ribs side, chest plate up diagonally forward. Hold the breath. Exhale, relax, bend the knees, drop, keep the head tilted up as you exhale. And when you can no longer bend, the head curls over. And exhale the last drop of breath. One more time. This time as you inhale, again, lower, middle, upper back, lower ab, ribs, torso, bringing up energy through the feet and the hands. They meet at the groin, they meet at the throat. As you draw those lines of energy up, send that energy up through the top of your head into the sun as you hold the breath. Purify that energy. And then when you can no longer hold your breath, start to exhale, bringing that energy back down. Empty your breath from the top down as energy goes out the way it came, through your fingers and your feet. One more time, breathing in deep. Let's do it one more time and ask yourself, what element out of earth, air, water, and fire do you feel you need the most? Do you need the fluidity and the downward motion of water? Do you need an uprising fire? Do you need a stable earth? Do you need a whipping, easily flowing air that's light and can move quickly? Which element do you feel you need more of? And bring that into your body, bring that into your mind and your soul. One more time. And breathing in. And exhale. Good. All right, then cleansing breath. Same thing, inhaling, and then 7 forced short out breaths on the exhale. So you're breathing in the energy, you're breathing into your lower back, middle back, upper back, lower torso, middle torso, upper torso. Hold the breath. And then as you exhale, you're expelling breath from each of your centers as you go down your body. One more time, breathing in. And one last time, breathing in. Fill up with the elements. Send the elements up into the sun. Energize that. And then as you exhale, focus on an area of your body going down the center line of your body. Okay, good. So that's cleansing breath. And now we do rejuvenation breath. So here we're going to inhale and we're going to finger tap. So let's do that together. So just let go of the day. Let go of the week. Let go of social media, except for this right now. Let go of the news. Hold the breath. Cup the palms. And then when you can no longer hold your breath, exhale. One more time. Inhale, finger tap. Let the sound resonate through your internal organs like some deep tissue massage. Hold the breath, cup the palms. And then exhale. One more time. This is a great boost to your immune system, this kind of thymus thumping. Good. Take a moment feel your body. And we're going to do the prana shake. So with the prana shake, should I do this sideways? Yeah, do it on a three-quarter. So your weight's between your legs. Can you see my feet? They're all flat. Yeah. And you inhale the same way. Lower back, middle back, upper back, lower ab, rib cage, upper torso. Your hands rise up with you. Make fists, close the energy circuits. Close energy, like close any leaks of energy in your body. We'll talk about that later. And you're grabbing somebody by the collarbones, you essentially, and you're giving yourself a shake. And you're trying to shake up your spine and the cerebral spinal fluid around your vertebra. And exhale. The last drop of air comes out. And then again, inhale. Pack energy into your bones, into your spinal cerebral sac, and shake it up. You can make this as vigorous or as gentle as you need. But basically what's happening, the hands go away, your head recedes a little bit, the hands come together, and the head come towards the hands. And then when you can't hold your breath anymore, exhale. Depending on, over the years of doing this, I've noticed that depending on like small little adjustments in my posture, I can feel the wave action in different parts of my body, especially in different portions of along the length of my spine. And you do what feels good for you. Most of the time when people first start off, they have a lot of vibration up in the upper extremities. And that can be a bit much after a while. It's a bit more advanced to try to get, if it's a bit much, try to get the vibration to hit a little bit lower, like in your chest cavity. And then if you can do it, a little bit lower yet again in the lower back. So you don't want to give yourself whiplash. You don't want to do it too excessively. You want to even out the spread of that wave action. So it feels more relaxing or more invigorating that way. So let's do it one more time. And breathing in deep. Draw energy into your body. Again, earth, air, water, fire. Close the circuits. Bring that energy into your spine. And exhale. Excellent, good. If you pass out while doing it, you're doing it wrong. No passing out, okay? No passing out. Okay, all right. So those are the basic breaths, and effleurage. And right now, checking with your body. And right now, I just feel a lot more expanded, open, looser, more alert, but not in a convergent, like heavy concentration kind of way. I'm just more aware and open. Okay? And let's take this feeling and let's get into boa. Let's do the boa bow and do some of the moves that we did last class yesterday and review those and cultivate our boa. And somewhere in there, I'll talk about empathy and the unconscious. And one of our exercises that will be a thread throughout our second phase, which is the warrior exercise. And I'll put up some notes about that tonight. I promise I forgot to do last night. I'll do yesterday's and today's tonight. Okay, so let's do boa bow. And okay, so this is the image that's coming up for me right now. I'm imagining myself in a womb, surrounded and immersed and floating in amniotic fluid. And that's the kind of softness you have with the boa. So you keep relaxing. Exhaling. The hands caress the inside of the barrel at my back and on my side. I'm inhaling. My hands are floating up in this fluid-filled room. Breathe in. Exhale. Come up for a little resurface and drop back down, immerse yourself. I'm sorry, I forgot to, hopefully you can see the legs here. Yeah, so as I reach towards the back, my feet turn in. That sort of gives my lower back a little bit more room to maneuver. And then as I come up, the feet turn parallel. Hug the world, stop the world. So any kind of errant thoughts, any kind of chatter, you just halt it. And then bring the world, your breath in, and let it out. One more time, drop down. Good. Good. So, things that you can use the Boa Bao for during COVID. The Boa is really great at absorbing experiences, taking what feeds it, and letting go what it doesn't need anymore. And one of the things that the COVID pandemic and sheltering in place exposes us to is grief, is mourning in many ways. Perhaps the most common way is the mourning for all of our small everyday things and habits and rituals. Our rituals help us define ourselves. And whether it's getting up in the morning to get a coffee or to take a little stroll around your block, the casual hellos at the office, whatever those are, those small little rituals help define who we are. And in these kinds of times, when our rituals are disrupted, so is our sense of identity. And in a real way, psychologically, we have to go through a process where we mourn the rituals. You're not really mourning who you. I wanted to say you're not really mourning who you are, but in a way, you are also mourning a part of yourself, not all of who you are. And usually it's not an essential part of you, but it's still an expression of yourself. And so it's like saying bye to an old friend or an old part of yourself. And doing the Boa Bao can be a really great way of affirming that part of yourself that you liked, that you were well known and acquainted with, and acknowledging that it's no longer as much a part of you as it was before, and feeling the grief of it, expressing the grief of it, and then letting go the grief for that. And so Boa can be an embodiment, can be a physical expression of, here is the totality of all of who I am, and I'm stopping and I'm acknowledging one specific part, and I hug that part, I take it in, maybe I still need it, maybe I still use it, and if I don't, I let it go. And you're not trying to think about this analytically. You're letting your unconscious do the filtering for you. And there's no rush. It doesn't have to give an answer right away. You can ask the question. You can be present with that aspect of yourself that you're acknowledging. You can bring that aspect into your unconscious, and maybe your unconscious absorbs the energy of that aspect of yourself and that energy like dissolves, or maybe you still need that, and so you bring that aspect of yourself in and it comes back out to continue to be expressed. But you're not forcing it. You're not reasoning your way through it. You're letting the motion, the breath, and your connection to your own unconscious do its thing. Just, you're letting it absorb. You're letting it, the unconscious, move through all of that energy, all of that information, that knowledge, that identity, and you're letting it distribute it as it will. Okay, so let's do that again. And just take a moment. Where is there perhaps a heaviness or a sadness? What are the things that you're letting go of? You know, and you know what? Even that's too much thinking. Just find yourself, settle in what you think of as, in what feels to you like the center of who you are. All the roles that you play, all the things and the responsibilities you hold, they're just there on the periphery. And you're in your center. And all of those aspects of yourself, you move through them or they move with you, but you breathe, you do the bow, you're absorbing them all, you're letting them all come in for a visit, you hug them all, you bring them in, they pass through, you exhale, and you just let go. Okay? So one more time. So all those, as I'm doing this, things are coming up. And so there are parts of myself that I'm also letting go of. And it's sort of like I'm greeting an old friend. And then I'm letting my old friend go on their way. So let's do it one or two more times. And dropping down. Come in. And I let go. One more time. Breathe in deep. Bring it in. Let it go. Good. So that's one way of using the boa. Another way of using the boa, besides letting go, is creating space so that new things can grow. Boa is a great form for letting it go and then letting it grow. And if one of the main, a big challenge that a lot of us have is having kids, and our kids, not having, social interactions. Yeah, they're bored, but they're also growing, and the way that they want to grow, the directions they want to grow in, it needs to be nurtured. You need to water the soil and let them grow, right? I sort of talked myself into a corner here, but so what the boa is really good at, and how this applies with kids, is it creates a space. You sort of empty out everything. You sort of if there's mental chatter and there's you're acting out and you're reacting and they're reacting. What the boa is really good at is quieting down the chatter, like just for a moment, stopping the world, letting go of the chatter, and you just with your presence you create a space. And you give your child the gift of that space where they can grow a little bit more. And what the unconscious is really what feeds the unconscious and what feeds growth when you think that you can't grow is story, mythology. This is one of the ways in which you can, one of the ways in which you can support your child in growing during this hard time is to feed them stories, to nourish their unconscious and to give the unconscious the stories and the myths they need. Because those images, those powerful emotions embedded in stories feed the unconscious. And so this is the domain of Boa. And what kind of myths? Well, I'm Egyptian myths, classical Greek myths, Norse myths, Indian, Hindu, Native Indian, any kind of myth that speaks to you. Modern day myths like Star Wars, especially the original 3 from the 70s and 80s, not the more recent stuff. They all of these kinds of stories have really powerful mythic forces behind them. And those kinds of stories and our movement and our breathing bypass the analytical mind, and it rests in the unconscious. Now, it's not a cure, but it's a step. It's at least one ingredient that you can provide now, and then when things unwind and we get out, then the energy that has been stored up, the seeds that you've planted now, get a chance to express later on. So I would just want to encourage that. And the reason why I'm bringing it up, so we'll do the Boa, some Boa forms in a bit. But while you're moving in the Boa form, you're connecting to your empathy and you're connecting to the unconscious. And one of the exercises that we have is called the warrior exercise. And what we do is we write down what the aspects of the animal's consciousness means to us, to myself. So I would spend a bit of time and I would write down, what do I think empathy means? What do I think the unconscious means? And if I were a guardian or a steward or a warrior for empathy, for my empathy, or if I was an unconscious warrior or a warrior for the unconscious, what would that look like? What are my values? What are my standards or ethics surrounding those aspects of my consciousness? And so of course I'll write up instructions for the warrior exercise a little bit later tonight, but just for yourself, what do the aspects of the Boa, the empathy and the unconscious, what do they mean to you? And as you move, can you more express that in your motion, in your breathing rhythm? Can you express, almost dance, what those aspects of consciousness mean to you? Okay, so let's do the bow maybe 1 or 2 more times, and then we'll go into moves, and then let's finish off with some additional bows from the other animals and see how they alter or shift after we've done all this work with Boa. Okay, so let's do the bow. And so so for me, when I imagine the unconscious, for me it's almost like I'm at the bottom of the ocean and there are little tidal currents that are pulling me in directions. I can't see them. That's what it's like. I'm not really consciously aware of them, but I'm letting myself be moved by them. Okay? And you're allowing yourself, you're trusting that you can flow with these forces. And I also feel like I'm dipping into that collective unconscious, that shared mythology we all share as people, and the energy from those stories. And dropping down, I dip into that ancestral collective wisdom. I rise, I'm filled with them. I stop the world, I find their center, their still center. I take in and eat what I need, and I let go the rest. time. Exhaling, breathing in deep, filling up, moving through mythologies. With breath and motion, simple motion, I'm expressing what it would be like if my unconscious mind could express itself. There you go. Right. So, how do you create space, let's say for your kids or for any other people that you're with, who you're going through this rough time with? How do you create that space so that they can grow? So you let it go, then you let it grow. How do you create the space so they can grow? The other strength of BOA, the empathy. And with empathy, you feel as though you're there. As opposed to sympathy, you feel as though you've been there, done that. So with empathy, you feel what the other person is feeling. You connect with them directly. And you don't have to do anything. You can reflect what you're feeling. Maybe you use words. Sure, we have articulate empathy. Fine. You can say, oh, that feels like this. Wow, that feels really heavy. Or that feels really light. Or that, God, that feels like oppressive. But even if you don't say anything, just the fact that you're present and feeling, and other people get that you're connecting with them directly through feeling, that creates the space. There's a lot more I could say, but you go with the flow on this. So, you sometimes, a metaphor that I really like from the world of psychology is, you had that expression, a train of thought. And it comes from Freud, who would talk about free association as though you're taking a ride in a train and the scenery is just passing you by. And you let the whole scenery waft over you. And it's kind of the same thing when you listen to people speak. You'll get impressions, you'll get feelings, but you don't act on any one of them. You let your body, you let the unconscious take it in and let it respond. And sometimes maybe it's a direct response, but sometimes as you dip down through all of those collective mythologies, something in what the other person is saying rings or resonates with some deep story in your own life. And you just let the feeling of that story resonate. So that's for me. So I'm sharing with you my own definitions of empathy and the unconscious, and it's just to give you a starting point. And if, as you do this work, you find your own definitions for empathy and unconscious, that's great. Just keep cultivating it. And let the motion of the BOA express this. Okay? Now, let me just check in to see what we've got here in terms of comments. Hello, Esteban. Nice to see you. Lindsay, hello, Lindsay. You came just in time for the collective unconscious. All right. Our lecture on the collective unconscious. Okay. And here we go. And I pressed on something. I hope I didn't accidentally kick somebody out of the group. Okay. All right. Okay. And so let's do a couple of BOA moves, and we'll use this imagery of the unconscious and empathy to inform, to make the movement more meaningful. All right, let me just see here. You got my feet, and maybe I'll just lower the screen a touch. Just a touch. There we go. Good. That should help. Yeah. Okay, great. So let's do one of the actions that we did yesterday was the butterfly block. So have your right leg forward and your left leg back, and if I was facing you and I turned both my feet on a 45-degree angle and then got my toes to point to the wall to my side directly. Maybe I'll just move my feet apart, but basically the heel of my front leg is making a straight line with the heel of the back leg. And if that's too narrow for you, that's fine. You can make it wider. No big deal. But just to give you a basic starting point. And what we're going to do with the butterfly block is, let's start from here. So you bring your arms crossed and you bend, you like sit on a chair, you bend a little bit in your back leg. Most of your weight, almost all of your weight is on your back leg. And you're going to use the backs of your hands and flick off of the thigh, off of the lap. I'm just going to be on an angle here. Maybe you can see me better that way. So I'm dropping down and I come up. And now my weight shifts from my back leg to my front leg as my hands come by my chest. And I press on an invisible wall and I push away. Make the butterfly. Flick the butterfly wings. Come in and press. And come down. And come forward and press away. This for me is like energy rising. It's something that's coming up. I may not be completely aware of, but I create space for it. So I drop down into my vat of stories, and I let the story and whatever feelings are attached to the story just be expressed, and I create space for that. Good. Other side, and one more time. Good. And if you, yeah, that's good. Let's do the door opening one. So same kind of stance. And you start off in the back leg. Right hand's forward, left hand's back by your waist. And you turn your hand and then hold a doorknob. And you push, pull your hands. Your body comes forward. And then your body recedes as the other hand, the left hand, goes forward. Release the head. And push, pull, press. Good. So I just want to draw attention to one thing that's important, which is the release of the head. So as a martial art, this is really uncommon. You never just drop your head. You deke, maybe you duck, you avoid a strike, but you never just let it fall down. And in this way, this martial art's a bit different from others. What you're doing is you're surrendering. You're letting go of your smaller ego so that you can let the bigger fullness of who you are come through. So that's why the head is surrendering. And it comes up, it floats, and it drops. So left hand's forward, let the fingers drop, come onto the doorknob. As I pull with one hand, it brings my other hand forward. And as that's happening, I'm shifting my weight towards the front. And I'm halfway through, and then I recede, I go towards the back again. And forward, and back. I'm surrendering, I'm taking energy, and I'm giving energy in a continuous flow as I surrender. So I'm taking energy here, I'm drawing something out, I'm raising energy from my body, from the earth, and sending energy out. that's a little bit of boa motion. And let's finish off with some bows from the other animals so we can practice them and keep them fresh. And I'm going to tilt this screen up so my head isn't cut off. There we go. There you are. I see. Just check everything is okay. Any questions? Hello, Jenny. And hello, Maureen. Nice to see you. Oops, I waved. Apparently good. I didn't do anything else. And okay, great. Everything seems to be all right. Okay, so let's do a couple of the other animals. Let's do, should we do tiger? Let's not blow boa out of the water just yet. Let's do panther or python. Panther or python. Any requests? I'm taking requests. I don't see any responses just yet, but let me know and I'll check in. And so let's do python, panther, leopard, python. Let's do python. So python's kind of like the next layer up. If boa is the deepest part of yourself, python is as deep but bridges up to consciousness. So let's do python, and it connects with breath. And so you drop down into the unconscious and come up to the subconscious, the conscious mind, and pack energy into your skeleton and roll. Rock and roll with it. And come on up and drop down, breathing into your bones, into the space between the bones, filling your body up with breath. Pack energy into the marrow of your bones as you stomp the feet into the ground and you ride the roller coaster down. Comes up and rebounds, and then down the sides of the legs. Hit the bottom, come back up for a quick breather, and then down you go again. Drawing up energy through the layers of the earth. And drop down. And one last time. Good. Yep. So right now with python, I feel like my body is a series of large whips, and they are heavy, and they are not to be messed with. That's me. Anyway, so that's python. And on top of python, let's do panther. And so you shift from that bridge and link between all the different aspects of your mind. And now we drop into the subconscious and your sense of instinct, your vitality, your rawness, your fight or flight, your adrenaline rush, your sensuality, and your deep connection to tribe and ritual and the earth. And drawing energy up through the tendons and ligaments, into the groin and the adrenals, and drop down. One more time. And triangles. And flip the triangle. release the panther. And come to neutral. And make room for some tiger. Feel your musculature. And let's just take a moment and feel what your body feels like after having done all of that boa and that breathing. You tapped into the unconscious, to our collective shared mythologies. You've expressed it in your movement and your breathing. You've done panther, you've done python. You're tapping into those archetypes. Now, tiger doesn't give a damn about the unseen unconscious, but he's still affected and influenced by it. So you are now supported. Your tiger is now being supported by the unconscious. And when you align yourself, when you take your willpower and you take your linear mind and you align it to the power of the unconscious, even if it may not be aware of it or be able to be conversant with it because it's busy doing its thing, there's still an influence, there's still a sort of a quicker, deeper self-correction. When the tiger slightly goes off its path, it comes back to its path. It regains its balance a little more quickly, a little more gracefully. So that's kind of the experience that I'm having right now. I'm in my tiger, and I feel my tiger structure. I feel its power, but the power is rooted and grounded into the earth, and it's stable. It's supported, it's nurtured. It's like I have little tendril banyan tree roots growing out of my arms, sinking into the earth, and it's drawing up energy from the earth in places, in ways I don't normally draw energy up, in the ways I don't normally draw energy up. So that's my experience. I'm hoping you're having a similar kind of experience where you're feeling the buffeting of the boa's unconscious surround and envelop your willful expression of your tiger. So, take a moment, feel your musculature, feel the armor of the tiger, feel the katana-edged sword of your tiger's presence, and the ability to just cut through any obstacle. Feel the body, the heart, and the mind forged as one. And bring it in, and let it out. One more time. And triangles, belly, and flip the triangle. And stand. And release tiger, relax. And let all the animals hang out inside of you. Let them say hi to each other. And feel what feels most alive for you after having done that. All right, let me just check in. Are there any questions or requests? Any particular bow anybody wants to see? Any explanations anybody's got? Wanting answered? All right, looks like everything's okay. Okay, well, I hope that was informative and rich for you. And so for now, we'll bow out. We'll continue again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, 4:30 tomorrow. And in the meantime, be safe, be well, be healthy. And keep breathing. Keep breathing those animals to life. Bye for now.